Welcome back to another weekly GMBN Tech Show. Coming up on the show this week, we check out a couple of new bikes from Cannondale. Propane have got a new carbon version of the Tyre, the all-mountain bike. And we check out some really cool stuff from Nukeproof, as well as all that amazing stuff from you guys. So first up, although it's not the latest news, I want to talk about that new Cannondale Habit. So this is a 130mm travel bike, and it's actually a little bit different to the previous Habit. So this is a brand new bike technically for Cannondale for 2019, and we know that Cannondale are going to be doing some more new bikes. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, this brand new Habit actually looks like it's the start of something very new and very different for Cannondale. Now, previously there was the Habit, the Trigger and the Jekyll. The Jekyll being the enduro bike, the Trigger being the trail bike, and Habit being more of a sort of an XC travel bike, but also available in the bad Habit, so that was the 27 plus size. Now the Habit has stepped up now to 130mm travel, and it looks like the Trigger has taken a bit of a back seat and it's not really in the range, but that could mean that's also about to be redesigned. But I suspect that it's actually going to disappear from the range, and we're going to see a new version of the Jekyll coming in the next few weeks. Now, this new design has got a radically different look for Cannondale. So they've adopted the 4-bar system now. It's quite a classic design on there, but they've got some interesting features on there. So the frame design is made of carbon, it's aluminium out back. It's got a few extra little special things on it. So it's got proportional response suspension tune. So essentially, the pivot points are very slightly different across the sizes to basically give you a better response per rider size and weight. After all, why should someone that's riding a size XL have exactly the same setup as a size small? Now, in the past, we've seen this from Norco and other people where they change the chainstay lengths accordingly to make the geometry proportional. But we've not seen it with suspension other than manufacturers speccing different tunes on shocks. But of course, the tune on the shock doesn't change how a bike feels, it just changes what the shock can do to that bike. So I think this is a really cool approach from Cannondale, and I'm all for it if it means the smaller and the taller riders get a bike that genuinely works the way it should do for their size. So bravo, I think that's really good. So the head angle up front is 66 degrees, which is okay. I think that's a fairly average now these days. I might have expected it to be slightly slacker though, especially with the sort of stuff we've been seeing that bike doing. Now, interestingly, it's got an offset drivetrain on there. Now, I say interestingly because not many people are actually doing this, but it's not surprising for Cannondale because they do like to do things a little bit differently. And essentially, this means that it can build the back end of the bike with less wheel dish on there and make it a bit stronger and hopefully more durable in the long run. Now, I definitely think the Habit looks like a really tidy bike, and it kind of reminds me somewhat of a little bit like of a YT-GFC crossed with perhaps a Canyon Spectral. Certainly not a bad thing because we know the suspension platforms on both those bikes works really well and the frame layout looks really good to boot. So got high hopes for this, but I definitely want to be looking further down the line and seeing what's going to happen when that new Jekyll arrives. Now, more news from Cannondale. They've just released the new version of their Moterra Neo. So that's a 130mm travel e-bike. Well, the frame's 130, it runs a 140 fork on the front. Now, in the past, they've had two versions of the Moterra. They've also had the long travel version, but that looks like it's been axed, unless perhaps there is another long travel version coming. Who knows, time will tell. But if you want to see a bit more about this bike in particular, you're going to have to tune into the GMBN weekly show because they've got the scoop on it. Next up is the revised version of the Propane Tyre. So there's two models in this, and it's carbon fibre. There's the regular model and there's the all-mountain model. Now the all-mountain is slightly less travel. It runs 145 out back and 150 up front, whereas the regular version runs 160 front and rear. Now this is very much a trail riding bike, but definitely loved by the downhill riders out there because it's well known for being able to handle a lot of rough terrain and be very playful whilst doing it. Now, look at some of these images on screen. I think you'll agree that it's a really, really nice looking bike. Now, it's got revised geometry on it now for the 2019 model. So there's a steeper 76-degree seat angle, which is fantastic for climbing. Basically, the steeper the better. I think you could go higher than that and it would still work, but people might frown upon that. So up front, it's a 65-degree head angle. So that is just geared up for smashing down hills. And it's got a longer reach and a lower bottom bracket on there. There's also 10% more anti-squat at the sag position as well, so just to really help it climb properly. There's bigger and better bearings with dust covers on them, so it's going to be durable and handle demanding conditions, whether that's super dry or super wet. Tyre, the name, in case you're wondering, means the chief in Native American. And finally in news, Nukeproof have just released a range of super lightweight springs. So they're steel springs, they're designed for enduro riders, and they're incredibly cheap and incredibly light. So this is them on the screen right now. So they're up to 40% lighter than regular steel springs, even less than some titanium springs too. And they're available for 2.25 to 2.5 inch shocks. So they're biconvex in shape. They're available from 350 to 600 pound weights, and between 400 and 500 pounds, it's in 25 pound increments. So that's actually really good because that's the most common sort of area for people to ride. And actually at the price, which I'll get to in a minute, you could afford to buy 2 of these with a 25 pound difference, compensating for riding with or without your riding pack. If you want to do a race, for example, sling off the riding pack, just carry the bare minimum on the bike, you're going to want it to be a slightly lighter weight. Whereas if you're riding all day with a heavy bag, you're going to need to coil spring that slightly heavier to cope for that. Obviously with an air shock, it's easy enough just to chuck in a bit more wind, but you can't really do that with a coil spring. So I think this is really cool. And the price that I've been trying to talk about, $69.99. So the Fox version of this spring, so the Fox SLS springs, they retail for about 150 quid. So that's just an idea of how expensive some of these super lightweight steel springs can be. I think, way to go Nukeproof, I think that's fantastic. Personally, I've not ridden a coil shock for some time, and I will be swapping my 275 Nukeproof out back to 29 again because I absolutely love the 29. So I'm definitely going to consider going for a coil shock to give that a bit of a try. So more news on that soon. All right, now it's time for Bike Cave. Of course, this is a section of the show where you get to send in pictures of your amazing, your tiny, your huge, all the places where you fix your bikes, you store your bikes. It could be a ropey old garden shed you've had for years, it's full of spiders and stuff. Wherever it is, we love them and we want to see them. So send them in, use the uploader. The link is on the bottom of the screen there. All right, first up is from Sean in Connecticut, USA. I've just built this bike cave because I bought a new bike and I'm always fixing friends' bikes to save a bit of cash. I've got Diamondback clutch 2, a Kona Lanai and a Specialized road bike. Cool, got a nice little pegboard set out at the back there. Plenty of tools hanging up, looking good. Obeying Martin's 90-degree rule. We need Martin back in here actually. I haven't had him for a while. Need to go and disturb him. He's always disturbing me. But looking good. So you've got a drill on the back there as well. Toolbox. Oh, you've got a grinder too. Nice. Plenty of stuff. Got your helmet. So it looks like you've done something similar to me and used old kitchen worktop and stuff. So that's great. Got a sink in there too. Nice. I like that Diamondback. I like the whole yellow back end on there. Yellow wheel, yellow back end, white linkage, and the rest is all like murdered out black. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I've not seen them. I've seen the red version. I think yours looks way nicer. And a nice little Kona there too. Looks like you've recycled a bit of carpet too to absorb all the gunk that comes off your bikes when you're working on them. Looking good, dude. Nice park work stand there as well in the corner. Or I'd much rather see the work stand out and a bike hanging from it, but I guess you have to store these things away. But looking good, dude. Thanks for sending that one in, Sean. Next up is from Leo in Sydney. Nice. My apartment I just moved into. Just moved from a big garage to a city apartment, and I've made a mini bike corner in my bedroom. Mate, it's a really stylish apartment as well. Looking good, mate. I love the just the brick in there. Looks cool. And around the side of the bed there, you got your muck off, and it's a drivetrain cleaner, I think. And then your cycle helmet and a bunch of other stuff. Nice looking canyon there as well, all in black. Sweet looking bike, mate. Nice. That's a really good use of space, and actually when you look at it from the other angle you barely even see the stuff's there. Tidy, good work, mate. Right, next up is from Tyler in Connecticut again. Wow, okay, so 2 people from the States. Nice. I'm 14 and my family moved into a new house just before I was born. My dad, who owned a few bike shops in the past, made our bike cave to work on and store many of our bikes. You have got a lot of bikes. I'm very fortunate to have all of these tools at my disposal whenever I need them. Dude, you've got like a massive fleet of bikes there. So your bike is the Kona Process 153, but I can see another Kona up the back there. A couple of tandems stashed in there too. Some road bikes, looks like a gravel bike. Can't quite see from that angle. Man, you've got loads of bikes. How many bikes does someone need? Not enough is the question. N+1, isn't it? Looking good, mate. Nice selection of tools in there as well. Looks like you've got everything you need. I definitely approve of those little trays. Look, you labelled them up as well. Oh, proper good for OCD, that is. Nice. Oh, that's the business end. That's what I wanted to see. So you've got your big roll cabs, real sturdy homemade workbench there. You've got everything. Massive bolt croppers down the back there. Yeah, it's like a 6-inch vise. Sweet. Plenty of good stuff in there, Tyler. Looking good. Oh yeah, there's your Kona. Yeah, that's the colour. That looks rude. So there's 2 other Konas in there as well then. 2 yellow ones. Nice. So what are they? Process 111s perhaps? Really like the 111 actually. That's the 29er with 111mm travel out back. 120 or 130 on the front. But yeah, you've got the big boy bike there. Super good. Oh, and we are out of the bike cave. Please continue to take shots of your bike and where you work on your bikes. We love seeing them. And genuinely, it doesn't matter if you've got the biggest garage or the tiniest little shed, whatever it is, we love seeing where you look after your stuff. Send them in, guys. All right, now it's time for Rewind, which is our retro vintage section of the GMBN Tech Show. This is where we look at where stuff came from, what it progressed to, how we got there, some old bikes, some old photos from racing, whatever it is that's old and vintage and mountain bike related, send it in. We love seeing this stuff. Please continue to do so. And also, if you want to know a bit about where things came from, perhaps the story of Camelback or those dreaded Girvin flex stems, anything you want to know, talk to me and we'll make it happen for you. Use the uploader to send your pictures in. This week I've got a load, I've been going through our emails as well, but the uploader is a lot easier, so please continue to use that. It makes it a lot easier for us to put the show together and get your stuff on the show. So first up is from Jeff Ratty. Hi Doddy, I was getting my car fixed and stumbled across this old Trek edition VW Jetta. There was a special VW that was around 1997, and the car had Trek logos, a matching roof rack, Trek bike, and it also had embroidered seats with a Trek logo on. I didn't even know these things existed, dude. This is sick. This is so cool. I mean, it's just a Jetta really with a couple of badges on at the end of the day, but I love the fact that this is a Trek edition car. And also, it came with a bike. It's no longer on a bike. Oh, you've got the advert for it too. Right, cool. Let's have a look at this then. Let's play this. Oh, no way. Yeah, so this is this is definitely a 90s style video, that's for sure. Sweet. I don't think you'd want to go and jump those bikes over that car. They'd probably snap in half. Looking good though. I love it. Totally didn't know that VW did that collab with Trek. That is really cool. You should have bought the car, mate. That'd be a good run around. So good, Jeff. I love that. I totally never knew that existed. Is there any other collaborations that have existed out there, bike brands with maybe clothing manufacturers or anything like that? I'd love to know if anyone knows this sort of stuff, because I was totally unaware of the VW Golf and Jetta Trek editions. But yeah, send them in if you've got any news and stuff like that. Next up is from Tommy Estrada. This bike is lush. So it's my 1999 Stump Jumper FSR XC, full Shimano XT except for the XTRV brakes, and an MRP X-rated link. I'll tell you what, mate, that is a seriously nice looking bike. Totally remember those bikes. Used to sell those in bike shops, in fact. Yeah, looking good. The condition of it's unreal. And there's that MRP link. That is well trick. Look at that Fox float shock. I love how retro it looks. Oh, you've had it push tuned. Nice. Nice touch. You've got some braided SRAM hosing on there. Looking good. Those XTR V-brakes were lush, weren't they? Really, really nice. Nice to see the red SID on the front there too. Sweet. Classic FSR design. Special did that so well. Well, they still do that so well. Looking good, Tommy. Thank you for sending that in. Next up's from Steve Ward. Hi Doddy, here's some pictures of my giant Cadex. Oh yes, I remember these. Having owned it for nearly 20 years. Wow. At the moment it's running a RockShox silo fork, but as you can see by some of the other pictures, I've still got the original fork setups. I'm thinking of converting it back to original. I would. The silo's a nice fork, but it looks a bit too big on there, to be honest. I think I'll go back for that, what is that? Is it a completely rigid fork? It looks like one, yeah. I'd go back for that. It looks great. Nice to see the Panaracer Smoke and Darts on there. They look absolutely immaculate. Are they reissues? They look too new to be originals. I used to love the Smoke. I think that was one of the coolest tyres ever. As a combo, I think they'd still cut the mustard now if someone made them again with like fresh casing. But it's nice to see that Cadex frame. So, of course, that was lugged with carbon tubes on there. Really quite futuristic, but wicked. Thanks for sending that one in. Guys, absolutely loving this retro stuff. Please continue to hunt out the retro stuff. It might just be stuff you've seen in the bike shop that's really old. Whatever it is, send it in. And now we're into top mods. This is all about the modifications you make to your bikes to personalise them, to make them your own. Make them a little bit different to ones in the shops, and a little bit different, more importantly, to your mates. Whatever upgrades and modifications you make to your bikes, however big or small, send them in, take some pictures, tell us what you're working on, tell us what you're doing to your bikes to make them your own. We love that stuff. Get them into the uploader. Again, the link is on the bottom of the screen right there. And of course, you can email us as well, but the uploader is super easy and it's much better for us to be able to find your stuff. So first up is from Tom in the USA. So, I recognise this bike, yeah. This bike was featured on the GMBN Tech Show during a rewind section a month ago. Since then, I've been tinkering away at it. So, bike in question, classic GT Avalanche, beautiful colourway there. Really, really nice. A pair of Judy SLs on the front. I think that was the best of the three Judys. It was the XC, the SL and the DH. DH being red, SL being yellow, and the XC being kind of a bronzy kind of colour. Looked a bit cheap by comparison to those. I think the yellow one that's the one. So I've been swapping out the old 3x7 drivetrain and hacking on a 1x9 setup. Tidy. Carbon handlebars and new Panaracer tyres. So they're reissues. Wicked. So smoke and dark reissues. Nice. Good touch. Most parts I sourced from another bike which somebody abandoned at my apartment building, or a local shop that sells tons of used bits. Prior to doing this build, I'd only done one very basic bit of bike maintenance, so thanks for the excellent content which got me through. Oh, sweet, dude. Here's the full mods list. Wow, you've done a lot to this. So FSA K-Force carbon bars, 660mm, Bontrager 90mm stem, Tektro brake levers, RNA lock-on grips, Cane Creek top cap, SRAM GXP bottom bracket and cranks, race face 32 tooth, narrow wide chainring, SRAM 1134 cassette, SRAM X7 derailleur and X5 shifter, and a SRAM chain, WTB dual duty wheels, and then smoke and dart reissue tyres. Next up, you put some different pedals on there and a full rear cable set on there. Oh man, it looks really cool. And it's really cool to see a retro project bike, but you've just sort of renovated it enough that you can still ride it now. That looks mega. Oh, I keep saying it, but I've got to do my own one. Like, that's classic. It looks really cool. Okay, next up is from Zach in Texas. I've modified my bike with an urban camo vinyl wrap. Oh mate, that is, it may as well say GMBN on it. That looks just like one of our jerseys. Dude, that looks amazing. You need the black and white GMBN jersey to go with that bike. That is sick. ODI grips and then red, and red race face chester pedals. I love the wrap. Tell me more about the wrap. Where did you get it done? I didn't realise you could get bikes wrapped. That's a really, really good idea. And pretty good actually, so if you don't want to commit to doing a paint job, get it wrapped. I mean, I know we have InvisiFrame in the UK, but that's like a clear wrap for protection rather than colour. But that is really cool. Nice upgrade. Nice. Thank you so much for sending those in, guys. Keep them coming and keep making all those little adjustments to your bikes that make them your own. It's the best thing to do. It's really, really cool. So tech of the week this week is the brand new Nukeproof ARD system. So that's advanced rim defense. You guessed it, it's a it's a tyre insert basically to protect your tyres and your rims against pinches, splits, and of course to enable you to ride harder in more demanding conditions. They're available in 27.5 and 29-inch models, and they're very, very cool. So one of the aims that Nukeproof tried to do was to make sure that they're actually realistic in use. Now, there's a lot of different options available in the market, like Cushcore, for example. Now, Neil fitted some Cushcore to his bike for the EWS, and although the whole point of running something like this is A, to keep the tyre on, and B, to give you rim defence, and of course C, to make sure that the tyre doesn't split when you're impacting against rocks really hard. Finale is notorious for that sort of thing, so Neil wanted to make sure that he finished the race at all costs, so he fitted one of those Cushcores. But he said just fitting a Cushcore was so much effort that he thought, what's going to happen if I actually do get a puncture? I'm stuffed. So he ended up putting a tube in it because it was such a faff, and he ended up running the tyre really hard for his race. I think he was running 30 pounds, maybe higher than that. It kind of defeats the purpose of running a system like that, because you want to be running a tyre softer in order to maximise on that grip. Now, this was something that Nukeproof took into account when they designed these, because they wanted you to be able to actually install your tyres correctly and take them off when you need to. So they're very easy to fit. We're going to have a video on this soon. And one of the cool things about them is they're slightly loose in fit, but when you pump them up, they actually suck straight onto the rim and can help hold the tyre on. Now, although that's not necessarily one of the major points on their USPs, Kellen Grant actually used these for all year in his EWS season, and previously he had managed to tear tyres off the rim when cornering, and he hadn't managed to do that with these fitted. So that's kind of a nice bit of security and peace of mind. But here's the cool stuff about them. So they only weigh 130 grams each. That's almost nothing. That's so light. Of course, they're available to fit 27 and 29 inch wheels. In a pack, you get 2 of these inserts. You get 2 copper valves, and you get your instructions. Now, they're sold to do pinch flat protection, rim protection, and they have no sealant absorption, so your tyre sealant will continue working correctly with them. Now, the best thing about them is they retail for $49.99. That's in the UK. So just to put that into perspective, if you want to get a set of cush cores, front and rear for your bike, it's going to cost you about 150 quid. So these are under 50 quid for a pair. Now, I reckon these are going to be really, really good, and they're going to go like hotcakes, because even if it just gives you partial protection on your rim, your tyre and everything, it's got to be a good thing. More on this soon when we've ridden them. And there we go, that's a wrap. That's another GMBN Tech weekly show in the bag. For a couple more tech related videos, click down here if you want to learn about replacing a derailleur inner cable. Nice simple process for a lot of riders, but obviously it's something overlooked by many. And click up here if you want to geek out on the new Shimano XTR. Man, that stuff is seriously nice. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and please tell all your friends about us. And of course, if you love GMBN Tech, give us a thumbs up.